Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So thank you all for coming for class. Today we're going to speak on verse 28 of chapter 9. The most confidential knowledge. Please repeat. Shubha Shubha Phale Evam Mukshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upashyasi Shubha Shubha Phala Evam Mukshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upashyasi Shubha Shubha Phala Shubha Shubha Phala Evam Mukshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimuktamam Upashyasi Shubha Shubha Phala Evam Mukshase Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upashyasi. Okay. ठीक है महाराज
Shubha Shubha Palayevam
Jai Karma Bandhana
Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma
Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma
Vimuktamam Upashyasi.
So please repeat. Shubha from auspicious. Ashubha and inauspicious. Phalai, results. Evam, thus. Mukshase, you will be free. Karma, of work. Bandhanai, from the bondage. Sannyasa, of renunciation. Yoga, the yoga. Yukta Atma, having the mind firmly set on. Vimuktaha, liberated. Mam, to me. Upaishyasi, you will attain. So translation, Srila Prabhupada. In this way, you will be freed from the bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. Please repeat. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. Purport Srila Prabhupada. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called yukta. The technical term is yukta vairag. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows. Anashaktasya vishayan yathaham upayunjata nirbandha krishna sambande yuktam vairagyam uchyate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 12255. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in this material world, we have to act. We cannot cease acting. Therefore, if actions are performed and the fruits are given to Krishna, then that is called Yukta Vairag. Actually, situated in renunciation, such activities clear the mirror of the mind, and as the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization, he becomes completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, at the end, he becomes liberated, and this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, one does not become one with the Brahmajyoti, but rather enters into the planet of the Supreme Lord. It is clearly mentioned here. Mam upaishyasi. He comes to me, back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 different stages of liberation. And here it is specified that the devotee who has always lived his lifetime here under the direction of the Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting this body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord. Anyone who has no interest but to dedicate his life to the service of the Lord is actually a sannyasi. Such a person always thinks of himself as an eternal servant, dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. As such, whatever he does it for the benefit of the Lord. Whatever action he performs it as service to the Lord. He does not give serious attention to the fruitive activities or prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. For ordinary persons, it is obligatory to execute the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas, but although a pure devotee who is completely engaged in the service of the Lord may sometimes appear to go against the prescribed Vedic duties, actually it is not so. It is said, therefore, by Vaishnava authorities that even the most intelligent person cannot understand the plans and activities of a pure devotee. The exact words are Tandra Vakya Kriya Mudra Vineha Na Bhuhaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 23:39. A person who is thus always engaged in the service of the Lord, or is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord, is to be considered completely liberated at present. And in the future, his going back home, back to Godhead, is guaranteed. He is above all materialistic criticism, just as Krishna is above all criticism. Mukam karochi vachalam bhangam laite grim yat kripatamaham bande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam. Shubha Shubha Phale Evam Mukshise Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upashase. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its inauspicious and auspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So, at the beginning of the Gita, if you remember, Arjuna was very disturbed. He thought that this fighting is going to be sinful. I'm going to destroy all these great leaders of society. Many of them are my superiors, so I should always give them the greatest respect. And this will send me to hell. I will have destroyed the guardians of culture, morality, and social structure, and the weight will be on my shoulders because I have done the fighting and I have killed them. When these great leaders are destroyed, particularly interesting to point out that Arjuna said that the women will be unprotected. Can somebody see that they become quiet? Tell them to be quiet. So, this is a terrible action you're encouraging me to perform, Krishna. You're asking me to kill all these people, and what will be the result? Society will be destroyed. The women will be unprotected. Bad progeny will be created. And then society will go to hell. It's very interesting how Arjuna views it in that way. That if the women are protected, then there will be good progeny. Whereas if the women become unregulated and unchaste, then bad progeny will be created, and this will destroy society. So of course society is built around people. So that is reference to the importance of good progeny. Arjuna was seeing that what is the use of this kingdom if everything in society is destroyed? Of course, interesting point. Krishna could have said, well, actually, Arjuna, Yudhisthira will remain, so will Sahadev, so will Nakula, so will Bhima, and they will re-establish good protection of womankind, and they will maintain society in a good manner. But that point didn't come up. The point, Arjuna, he was very distressed. by the idea of some future chastisement according to the law of karma. So, here Krishna is assuring Arjuna how you can actually be free of karma. And come to him in the sense of attaining. You see this last word, upaishyasi, you will attain. So you will attain mam upaishyasi, vimuktu mam upaishyati. If you perform your work in this way, Arjuna, you will be free from bad karma, the result of bad activity, and you will also be free of good karma, and you will come to me. So of course people generally think, I don't want to be free of good karma. But from the spiritual perspective, good karma and bad karma are both anartha, unwanted. Why? Because they bind one, karma bandhai, kama bandhanai. You see this in the second line. Can you tell those children to play elsewhere? So, good karma or bad karma will bind you to what? Birth, death, old age and disease in the material world. This material world will always be anartha, unwanted. Nowadays, and throughout time, charlatans, politicians, false religious teachers, they propose to the living entities, the congregation, the assembly, that if you follow my program, communism, capitalism, globalism, this ism, this religious system, then I will give you perfection in this world. And of course, people want perfection. They want to become free of misery, and they want to attain happiness. So the charlatans, the ignorant and foolish, fool the people in this way. They tell them that in this material world, by my intervention, my leadership, it can be attained. But those that are actually in knowledge know that there is no perfection, no eternal perfection to be attained in the material energy. The awakened spiritualist, transcendentalist, knows the nature of this world. Brahma bhuvana loka purna. From Brahmalok to the lowest, they're all places of misery. Krishna doesn't say in the Gita, they will stop being places of misery. Why? Because there is always going to be birth and death. So, those that propose some perfection in a slaughterhouse are ignorant fools, and they are befuddling everyone. In a slaughterhouse, all the animals are lined up to be slaughtered. They may be being fed, or they may be being whipped, but the end result is that they will have their throat cut. So this material world, those people that propose that I will give you perfection by following my material, political, whatever formula, they are only binding people to misery. They are keeping people in the cycle of slaughterhouse. Go out of one slaughter into the next slaughter, into the next slaughter. And those people that hold this idea, being misled, that I will gain perfection in this material world, are misinformed, grossly misinformed. The spiritual understanding is that this will always be a place of misery. So, where is the perfection? You may reduce the misery on the way to your slaughter, your death, by wearing a comfortable jacket, whatever. But you're still slaughtering, being slaughtered. So the spiritualist understands this, and the spiritualist teaches this, that there is no perfection in the cycle of birth and death, in the material energy. It is not meant to be that way. The material energy is meant to be uncomfortable. It is meant to bring the soul to the point of view where he wants to leave this material world, mam upaishasi, and attain transcendence. Karma bandhana. He should want to get out of this material energy. So this is very important, because if we consider through befuddlement, through being misled, that I will attain happiness in this material world, then all our energy will be directed in that direction, in a hopeless direction. We will spend our time uselessly. But if people understand that this material world is anartha, unwanted, and it is designed to be uncomfortable, then they will naturally look towards a transcendental or spiritual alternative. At least they will be open to the idea. And this will give a different base mentality. Instead of trying to enjoy this world and avoid the misery, they will inquire into what is transcendence. What is all this talk about eternal life that I find in the spiritual sphere? Throughout history, there have been teachers throughout the world, of course in the Vedic tradition, but even in the Malecha societies, there have been talk about some abode, some residence, some home beyond this material world. So if somebody understands the nature of this material world and how I shouldn't strive for it, happiness within this sphere, then they will be open to the consideration of this possibility. And that gives a different base mentality. Instead of trying to enjoy this world, let me become free of this world. Instead of trying to enjoy in the slaughterhouse, let me escape the slaughterhouse. So, this is Kali Yuga, and we see all over the world the so-called scientific community, the political community, they are all proposing, right? Through advancement of science, technology, through political means, through communism, through capitalism, through thisism, thatism, then vote for me and I will give you. So this is a very terrible condition for society. that all the fools and rascals have become the leaders. And they are misleading people. The scientific community, they are basically atheistic, the leaders. They have rejected religion, understandably, because the man-made religions are bogus. And they are proposing that there is nothing beyond matter, that we are matter. So forget all this idea about eternal life. You're just a bag of chemicals that is reacting. So the Bhagavad Gita is of great relevance, because the Bhagavad Gita lays out the true science of liberation, of aspiration, that we should desire not the things of this material world, but rather mam upaishyasi, we should attain to Krishna, we should attain to the Supreme Lord. So the first point is exactly that, to understand that there is no happiness in this material world. If you want to go in one direction, you can't be thinking about going the other direction. So the first determination of the soul is exactly that, to give up this world, vimukto, sannyas. Here in this sloka, it is very clearly stated. And the methodology is given here. So for us, for you, of course, your devotees, you've made this point, this decision in your life. But you should understand it very clearly, not have a muddled view. You should have a very clear determination to give up entanglement in the material energy. So, how does one become entangled? Very simple to understand. Desire, karma esha, krodha esha. What is the trouble, the enemy of this world? It is the desire to enjoy the material energy, to exploit the substance, matter, gross and subtle, in a selfish manner, for one's own enjoyment, self-aggrandizement. Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim. Lord Chaitanya has given this division. Through wealth, I will gain more opulence. Then Janam, especially in Kali Yuga, if people have wealth, then they get followers, they become admired. And then Sundarim, sex life and the good things of life, as Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, what does it mean? Hiranya, gold and soft bed. Hiranya is gold and Kashipu. So people want to enjoy these things. Through money, I will get followers, position in society, and then I'll enjoy sex life and the good things of life. Even if you attain these things, you will lose them at the time of death. So why work your whole life to attain things that you will lose? Why build a house that will collapse on your head? So within the aspiring transcendentalist, this determination is very firm and clear. And this is the starting point of spiritual life. To give up aspiration for material enjoyment. If we are on this wavering platform, then time will be wasted. However, if we understand that there is no happiness, there is only misery in the slaughterhouse, then we can become determined to escape. I told the story many times. In London, there was one pop singer. He came to see Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was talking to him. He had a little bit of fame at the time. And Prabhupada was talking to him. And then suddenly, an over-eager disciple burst in on the conversation. He was sitting there. He said, "Don't you understand?" His name was Donovan. "Don't you understand that if you just chant Hare Krishna and become vegetarian and worship Krishna, then you can attain eternal life?" Prabhupada immediately said, "Be quiet. Why are you telling him the process when he doesn't even understand the necessity?" Right? Nobody goes to the doctor if they think I'm very healthy. Right? Nobody tries to give up the material world, and he's a pop singer, right? He's getting some cash, he's getting some adulation. So Prabhupada was pointing out the inebrities of the material world. That has to be understood first. Then we can come to this point, which Krishna explains here in such a wonderful way, whole comprehensive. He says, "You will come to me." So this is very inspiring for the devotees. That, yes, through this method, I am just not living some empty shell of endeavor. I'm not just carrying out some ritual, some style of life. But there is a great fruit to be attained through my devotional activity. And that is mam upaishasi, that we progress. You will come to me. You will attain me. So the point is that we haven't attained. Krishna is instructing us through Arjuna. We haven't attained Krishna because we are bound in our shubha. We are bound in the result of our pious and impious activities. And we're befuddled by them. We're bewildered. We're striving for happiness, for knowledge, for permanence, for anand, bliss, but we're becoming bewildered. How to vimukto, maninas, how to free the mind from this duality imposed upon us, the good and bad of this material world that we see, the duality. There are whole philosophies, bogus philosophies, built around this yin and yang, male and female, up and down, happiness and distress. Everybody is bewildered by this. How to become free? You read the Bhagavatam about Prithu Maharaj, and Prithu Maharaj was praised because he was equipoised. Dhira. Dhira statra namuyate. Dhira means undisturbed, equipoised. So this is the sign of the spiritually situated personality. He is equipoised, and it is praised in the Srimad Bhagavatam as the greatest quality, particularly relevant in the personality of Prithu Maharaj. Why is it important? Because in this neophyte condition of having a material body, the result of good and bad activity, a material mind that contains our false identity. We are experiencing this duality. Even the bard said, right, to be or not to be. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles that beset us. Whether we should just tolerate, suffer the slings of arrows of outrageous fortune, or we should take arms. The question, that is Shakespeare. So this is a question in material life. It is not just Shakespeare's idea, he put it that way poetically. What should we do when we experience bad conditions? People speak badly of us, people speak well of us, we have a bad condition. What is the solution? Should we fight that? If somebody is speaking badly of us, should we answer back? The answer is given by Krishna, the Bhagavatam, the spiritualist, Trinadapi Sanichena, you should tolerate. These things are coming because of the fruit of your previous activities. So this is another point in spiritual life, that whatever is the result that is coming to us, of course this is the humility of a devotee, to see it in relationship to his own previous activities, but it is a possibility that unjust things may come to one. Because karma is not just based in the past, but karma is being created and envious activities are being imposed upon us without cause from an initial position in terms of time. So what should somebody do? It should be equipoised. So these things are all very nice. Yes, you say we're bound in the material world by selfish material desire, kam, which is a transformation of prem. You say we should be equipoised about the troubles. You say we should not aspire. Then what should we do? How should we attain this? Just by some mental posture? So the impersonalist, this solution is just to say it's all illusion. It doesn't matter. Your leg is broken. It's an illusion. Somebody is throwing bricks at you. It's an illusion. Don't put too much sugar in your tea. You can put salt. The difference is illusion. Right? One is white, the other is white. It's all one. So, what is the solution to the sea of troubles, outrageous fortune, the enmity of envious living entities that assail us? What is the solution? Because without some mooring point, without some point to shelter us, without some goal, without some formula of activity, how will we continue in this world? Just by becoming null in our consciousness? No. Here, Krishna is telling Arjuna, in this way. So that refers to the previous verse. Yad karosi yad adnasi, yogstidosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kuntaya, tat kuruswa madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So this is the point. And then, with your mind fixed on me, you see this? Yuktatma. Yukta Atma, the mind firmly set on. So, yes, as Prabhupada pointed out in the purport, Anashat Vishayan, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, we have to perform activities. We have to deal with this material world, this material body, this material mind, adidevik, adibhotik, adhyatmic miseries. We have to deal with them. But how? That we should be equipoised, and Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe means that we should perform activities that are favourable to being offered to Krishna. That doesn't mean to say you can offer anything to Krishna. Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He doesn't say, offer me anything and I will accept it. He says, no, offer these items and I will accept them. That is the meaning of Nirbandha Sambandha. Those things that cannot be performed as an offering to Krishna, they should be rejected. Therefore, devotees of Krishna are vegetarian, because you can offer vegetarian foodstuffs to Krishna. Milk products and vegetarian foodstuffs. You get the full range of nutrients, and they can be offered to Krishna. But you can't offer horrible things to Krishna. So, this is the methodology, and this is the means by which Mamupaishasi we can attain Krishna, Vimukta. This means, this is a reference to attaining our spiritual form in the transcendental abode. What's that verse? Muktir hitavan yata rupam swarupena bhavashtiti stita. That what is liberation? Liberation is freedom from the gross and subtle bodies and to be situated in one's swarupena. Swarupena bhavashtita. To be situated in your spiritual form. Now we are situated in our material form, encased in the material body and the material mind, and we are identifying with this. But liberation means when I feel I am the servant of Krishna. Jivara Swarupoi Nichera Krishnadas. If you are finding that your sense of self is developing and becoming enhanced, I am the servant of Krishna, I am the servant of the Vaishnavas, Gopi Bhata Kamalayo Dasa Dasana Das. I am feeling that way. You wake up and you feel, I am the servant of Krishna, I am the servant of the Vaishnavas. Then you are a liberated soul. But as long as you are considering you can pass this test, not only when you wake up, of course, but if you are immersed in consideration that I am the servant of Krishna, the servant of Krishna's devotees, if that is your sense of identity, then you're making progress, Mamupaishasi, towards Krishna. But if you're still considering in relation to this material body, I am this material mind, I am a man and woman of this world, I belong to this country, my family is over there in Greenland, or Togoland, or Tahiti, and my duty is to that situation. If you're still considering in this way, you are still karma bandhanai. You don't have to look very far for the answer. But if you're considering, to that question, if you're considering, I am the servant of Krishna, if this bhav, if this mood is awakening within you, then you know you're becoming liberated. And this mood arises at the stage of bhava bhakti. Bhava bhakti is the stage at which swarupena bhavashtiti. So, in this material world, according to the karma, the mental mood, the body is added, is it not? If you have a mood of a dog, your consciousness, your mental body, linga sharir it is called, if you are jacketed in the mood of a dog, then the material energy will supply a dog body. If you have the mood of being a woman, the material energy will supply a woman's body. If you have the mood of being a man, the material energy will supply that. If you have the mood of being a yeti, then the material energy will supply that. If you have the mood of being a terrorist, then the material energy will supply that. Whatever your mood is, the body will follow. So, swarupena vibhastiti means swarup. Actually, every soul has an intrinsic spiritual form. The material energy will supply an external body to the soul, but we understand from the great acharyas, and Prabhupada writes this in a letter to Jagadish, that the spiritual form is residing within the soul, just like within a seed, the form of the tree is there. Whether it's a banyan tree, or it's a bale tree, whatever, mango tree, that is within the seed. So the difference between the spiritual form and the material form is that the swarup, the own form, is within the soul. But just in the same way that according to your mentality, your consciousness, your mind, your material body is added. So the root way, you as devotees, of course, you know about Swarup. But how to develop that Swarup, make it manifest, just like the tree manifests from the seed. How to get that Swarup into active production. First, you must start with the mood. Because the core of everybody, every soul, is the bhava, the mood. Once the mood is there, then the spiritual form will manifest. If you study Jaiva Dharma, you'll know that the acharyas have explained that Ekaridas, that there are 11 different elements they have for understanding, categorized 11 elements. But the central, the causative function is the mood. So that mood is Sevabhav. We've discussed this many times, right? In the material world, people, they have a Sevabhav to their own self, as we're saying. They act according to the material energy to enjoy it. So they're selfishly motivated. They want to serve the self. But the Sevabhav, the mood of all liberated souls, of all transcendentalists, of all residents of the spiritual world who have attained Krishna, Swarupena Vavasthiti, is Sevabhav, the mood of service. So this sloka, the previous one, they explain how to develop this Sevabhav. So this is very important, because many times people, they think the bogus Sahajiya Sampradayas, they say that according to your imagination you will attain a Swarup. And then you meditate on this Swarup, and then you will attain that. But this is, and you can choose your Swarup. And therefore, the conditioned soul sits down and he considers with this bogus information, oh, how will I enjoy in the spiritual world? I'll enjoy in this way, with this Swarup. So immediately, he's reverting to his normal material consciousness. Instead of trying to develop service attitude and enter the spiritual world on that basis, he's imagining how he will enjoy in the material world.